Another steal is Tarasenko in the slot. Lost it. Brink with a shot. He scores! Welcome home, Bobby Brink. His first game with the Wild here on home ice. He rockets one upstairs, and it's 3-0 Minnesota.
Welcome back to TRIA, second hour of the presentation. Minnesota Wild about set to head onto the ice for the morning skate before playing Philadelphia. On-site producer Nordo, I'm Paul Allen. Kara Savage is here with the KFAN social team. And the great ship Love Covenant is being guided by CHA, a DABB, with a double T. Chad Abbott back at KFAN. And Russo Radio has joined us here at Russo Hockey via
So
X.
Brett clearly has a hangnail again.
Brett who?
Brett Blakemore.
Who's he? Just kidding.
Somebody that would come in, maybe give Chad, who's the big boss, a chance to go to his office, do some paperwork.
You never talk to Brett. I'm taking the leap. You never talk to him, right?
I talk to him every now and then.
Okay. How do you?
Usually, it's him texting me.
How do you know he's not in Arizona golfing with the coach of the Sun Devil hockey team?
He probably is. But usually when I hear from Brett, it's him just, ripping on LaPanta to me, which I respect.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, usually when I hear from Brett, it used to be him claiming to me Quay Walker could cover the pass. So I'm glad that season's over. And now we move on to hockey. And we got 17 to go for Heinze's team. These Philadelphia Flyers are here this evening. And before we came back, I mentioned to Russo Radio that Philadelphia not only beat the Wild earlier this year, sixth game of the year, 2-1 in overtime, but they've beaten them 5 of the last 6 times. And I guess I had forgotten, but Michael's elite with recall with stuff like this, that the Wild have had significant trouble against Philly for years, right?
Yeah, I still remember the father-son trip that we go there, and the Wild got smoked like 6-1, 7-1.
That was the 4th game of the year. You called it a devastating loss.
It was, and if they lose tonight, PA, it will be devastating. Yeah.
It's an inside joke, baseball. Not worth explaining right now, but it was the genesis of the relationship between the cartoon character radio announcer and the best scribe and beat writer in the history of beat writing.
Yeah,
but you were saying?
Yeah, I might have exaggerated a loss. And
you were trying to splash. You had just started with the Star Tribune.
For some reason, and even last year, remember the Wild go in there like 7-8 games into the season, they were about to set like an NHL record for like most time to start a season without trailing in regulation, and then they go there and just get smoked. For some reason, no matter the lineup that the Wild ices, they always seem to have trouble with this Flyers team. I was watching the Flyers last night. They're a tough watch, and they just
they won.
Yeah, I know.
They were a tough watch winning 4-1.
And that's probably how they have to play, right? I mean, to right now they don't have a lot of offense. Michkov hasn't broken out yet.
Who?
But they still have Michkov is sort of the guy that's become he's kind of the guy that every Flyers fan is just clamoring over that, and they already want Rick Tocchet fired because he hasn't turned into like Kirill Kaprizov, and he doesn't treat him with kid gloves and all that stuff. So Flyers fans are all over this. But, they still have some really good players. I mean, obviously Noah Cates, who's extremely tight with Bobby Brink, local guy here. We know...
their goalie's good.
Yeah,
Vladar's having a decent... Well, he's 20...
you're right. He's
20 and 11 with a save percentage of 90.
Yeah, but
that
if you can't
bad.
beat Vladar, then you got problems. It would be a devastating defeat if you can't beat...
I understand that. At Russo Hockey via X.
No, but tonight's a tough game. I mean, when you play a team that you don't have a lot of... And there is something about this Wild team this year that when they don't have, like, the emotion of the opponent, like, to get up for, they seem to struggle. And,
really? At this stage of the season,
times,
no chance.
Yeah.
They're going to kill Philadelphia tonight. When I say kill them, they're going to win by at least 2 or 3.
So are you hearkening back to, like, the St. Louis game? Is that an example, or some of those where you're saying...
Well, you should get up for St. Louis. There's just been those games where when you're coming off an emotional win and then you're playing a team like this, you just don't get up for it.
You're eliminating human nature, man, with that.
But you're right. I mean, this is The one thing that I loved about that game the other night against Utah is their bottom six that are all auditioning to stay in the lineup. Every one of them was great. Like, Trenyon was unbelievable. Nick Foligno was great. McCarron was awesome. Tarasenko was awesome. Brink was awesome. Urov was awesome. Like, I cannot, if they are healthy when Marcus Foligno comes back, I do not want to be John Hines, because there's like, you can almost say there's no wrong decision, but there's no right decision. Like, who do you pull out of the lineup? It's going to be really, really hard. That's why when Wild fans keep on asking me who comes out, let's see the health then. Like, it doesn't.
Why do they care so much?
Well, I mean, that's just
because I've read that in the comments of like some things you've written, and I'm like, it's like, why do you care so much about the bottom line, like in and out?
Yeah, I know, but when you're invested into a team, I mean, you start to look at lineups and how to put everything together. And
for all 10 minutes they're going to play.
But I'm curious too. Like, I mean, it's really difficult because probably the person that should come out is Nick Foligno. But are you really? Can you imagine? The big storyline is you wait 38 years for the Folignos to play together, and then Marcus comes back and you sit Nick. That ain't happening. That's not happening. So it's clearly like it could be Brink, it could be Urov.
Yeah.
It could be, it really could be somebody.
Urov?
Whoever it's going to be is going to be somebody that's going to tick off the fans.
Wow.
Which is, something to look forward to.
And I wasn't taking a shot at the fans saying, why do you care? It's just you have identifiable, identity-related pieces with this team. Yeah. If the goaltending falls apart, if the allegedly or purportedly best set of three blue liners starts getting leaky or injuries, I can understand that. But, I mean, when you're talking about who's going to be the fourth-line winger and so-and-so sat, and I really want to know why, that's just, I don't know, man, it's a little deep.
Yeah, I know, I get it. But the bottom six for this team, like, I know this might sound foolish, but like when I look at Dallas and Colorado, the two teams that the Wild would have to play in the first two rounds if they're lucky enough to advance out of one, I think where they actually have the real strength of this team is their bottom six. Like, there are some really good players there.
Got it.
And so I get why it's an important thing. It's just going to be based on balance. It's going to be really the coaching staff looking at the lineup and coming up. It's not going to be like, a talent show. It's not going to be the least talented guy comes out. It's going to be based on what they think. Like right now, if I was up in the press box the other night, I'd hate to be Nico Sturm because he had to look at that and realize, whoa, I am in trouble.
Right.
It's just because right now this is the lineup, and it's just, he's probably going to sit for a while. Same with Robbie Fabry. Same with Jeff Petrie. It's all about health, too.
Well, I'm curious, and maybe you haven't. I mean, there's so much in front of us right now with the games that are playing, but how far down the road can you get in terms of, okay, this bottom six, the competition is sweet. What does that look like against the Stars? Because we've kind of played it's inevitable, and it just depends on whether we're staying in St. Paul for game one or we're going to Dallas. But that bottom six could look vastly different. You mentioned Nico Sturm. How about the shorty by Sturm over the weekend in the Mile High? Yeah. So it's like the series against Dallas and the series against the Avalanche could maybe look much different in terms of the bottom six, and which could actually play to an advantage to our team despite how strong those other teams are.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be...
We keep talking bottom six, we're going to be bottom 10 radio.
Yeah, that's true.
When that people meter comes out, I ain't kidding you, but anyway, go ahead.
This is your Yakov Trenyon later.
That's great.
That's a great point. I agree with everything you just said. Let's move on.
Yeah, Michael Russo at Russo Hockey. Are you working on any doozies for the Athletic?
Especially with Chad Abbott working the board right now. Like, I got to make sure our ratings stay up, so I keep on coming on here.
Yeah, for the bountiful amount of money we give you yearly, A.
Exactly.
And B, I'm going to start calling it KFAN for the rest of the show. Just to get dumped every 5 seconds.
So anyway, to your point, any good doozies? Yeah, I spent some time Monday, about a couple hours actually, at one of the players' houses. That story will drop tomorrow.
Jeez.
So that'll be a really cool story. That's and then I go to the
How
GM's
is Gabriel Landeskog?
And then I go to the GM's meetings Sunday. So So that'll be fun.
GM's meeting during the season.
Yeah, they have. Impressive. It's funny that you said that. I was talking to the Utah GM the other day, Bill Armstrong, and he was kind of complaining about that, like how stupid it is to have it now. But they've had it they've had their March meetings this time every year down in sunny South Florida. Although it looks very rainy while we're going to be there. So it'll be fun. I'll have my annual dinner with Lou Nanny up in Palm Beach at some ritzy restaurant. That's always fun. But it's cool. I mean, it's pretty laid back. You basically sit outside a ballroom for 3 hours.
Sounds unbelievable.
Waiting for GMs to go to the restroom so you can go pick them off for like 5 minutes and grab some quotes. And then it's like a free-for-all once they come out. And then you get Daly and Bettman on the final day.
Yeah, that's. I mean, you should take Paul Charchian with you. They'd be hanging out outside of restrooms at rest stops.
Yeah, because you might have
Sounds elite.
no problem just staying outside of the restroom. Charch will approach him at the urinal, and he is not shy.
Well, now you took it a little far. All right, a little toe tapping.
Yeah. Well, that would be at the airport. Now, Russo.
This reminds me. I was once at the Fleet Center in Boston, and I was at a urinal, and
what the heck's happening?
Yeah, Seabass, Cam Neely, Seabass from something about he all of a sudden was at the urinal next to me, and I'd never met him. This is like about 15 years ago. Yeah. So I started chatting with him, and for some reason he didn't seem appreciative of that. And then ever since I've run into Cam Neely, I'm almost guaranteed that he remembers this conversation because he could not be more unfriendly to me every time I see Cam Neely. So I think
there were just 5 things uttered.
I think the genesis of it was me chatting with him for the first time at a urinal.
There were just 5 things uttered in the last 55 seconds that if they had come from me, I'd be walking by myself in New Orleans for 2 days. So
you think Chad just right now has his finger on the dump button?
I mean, I have no idea. I mean, dump. Anyway, all right, 3-2. 10-16, welcome to TRIA. We have got Matt Baldy on the ice, and the Wild are about ready to head out for their morning skate. This is the biggest crowd at TRIA Rink for a Vox in the Box morning skate that I think we've ever seen. If you were general manager of the Washington Wizards of the NBA, you'd pine for a crowd this big. I mean, we got some USA sweaters in the crowd, Russo Radio here.
Well, the Wiz would have the T-shirt cannon out for this crowd right now as Bam lifts off for 83 against them.
How's Billy Guerin been of late?
Good.
It's about set to join 9 to noon, 15-20 minutes from now. Just want to kind of know what we're walking into.
Yeah, no, I think he's been in a good mood. I think obviously that he tried to go get a center at the trade deadline, and just the prices were crazy high. I mean, you look at what Nazem Kadri went for. He's not even playing center in Colorado, but he's 35 years old with 3 years left at $7 million. That's something that the Wild weren't willing to do. I think that they were in on Trocheck, weren't willing to raise their offer. They were in on Ryan O'Reilly. He didn't want to go anywhere. I think they made a pitch for Robert Thomas, but that could be something to try to set the table for a potential trade in the offseason when everybody goes after him. So this is what they get. He worked around the edges. I think he improved their depth. You add a Michael McCarron, who's been really good on the faceoff circle so far. Won 10 of 13 the other night. He's been outstanding on the PK.
Yeah.
I look. We saw what Bobby Brink can do the other night, and he's somebody that has a chance to be part of the future. So I think he made the moves that he wanted to make at the trade deadline, minus the center that I know a lot of people are clamoring for. But look, McCarron could do that. He's somebody that John Hines knows and respects, and has already shown the willingness to move him up in the lineup if it means taking a key draw. And right now, I like what we're seeing from this team coming out of the break. It's just what's nuts is that this league has been so top heavy this year, where Colorado, Dallas, and Minnesota have been the 3 best teams in the league, and all of them keep winning, so the Wild can't gain any ground. And I do think it is important to try to get home ice for the first round of the playoffs, because the Wild just historically don't play well in Dallas, so you want to start at home if you can.
Well, I'm glad you said that, and of course I'm going to agree with you because you cover the league, you're preeminent, and you're right about the top-heavy nature. However, if you're following the likes of Lucas Raymond and Moritz Seider with Detroit, Logan Cooley in Utah, Anaheim with Lacombe, and some others have jumped up. You got about 5 or Buffalo. You got about 5 or 6 teams that are kind of sitting on being pretty good. Yeah. Maybe not this year, but it's the parity part of it. It's really starting to come into play.
It could be this year because look at the way that the playoff format is set up. I mean, the easier path to get to the Stanley Cup Final is to be in the Pacific and the top wild card team, and Utah is going to get to play Anaheim in the first round.
Are you kidding me?
The Wild have beaten Anaheim 20 of the last 21 games and 10 in a row at home. So I mean, you know the Wild would love to be in that position. But you're right. I mean, that's what I love about the NHL is any single day somebody could go out and win. It's not like the NBA where the bottom of the league is lost 50 of the last 52 games.
Yeah,
insane number. Yeah.
I mean,
how many strays have the NBA caught in the last hour of a hockey show at a hockey rink?
So the thing is that John Krasinski right now is on the West Coast, so I know he's probably not listening, so I don't have to worry about him getting mad.
Yeah.
So he takes enough shots at the NHL. I could take one at the NBA, and that the fact that they have a league that you have the bottom 10 teams that literally have no chance to win on a night.
You're salty.
It's brutal.
You're salty. It started with Blakemore, now went to Johnny Athletic.
I know, exactly. And Cam Neely.
Right.
Hey,
dumb question, Russo.
But to your point, just on one thing, that's what I do love. It's a very exciting league this year. Pittsburgh, everybody thought was rebuilding, is having an unbelievable season.
Right.
This league is better right now, with Buffalo being a chance to win the division, but end their 14-year playoff drought. Detroit, Utah, Anaheim. It's been really cool to see so many teams play so well.
I don't know what Detroit is to get to the Stanley Cup. Feels like a 50, 60, or 70 just to get there, not to win it. I'd spot up on that.
Yeah.
With Larkin and Raymond and Sider, Gibson's not bad. I mean, he's getting up there in age, but the East is more wide open than the West, I think. Do you?
Yeah, definitely.
By a big margin, I think.
I agree with you. Because to me, I look at the Pacific right now, and I'm just judging from the Wild. The top three teams of that Pacific Division are teams that are patsies to the Wild, right? Anaheim, Vegas right now can't beat the Wild in the last few regular seasons and should have lost in the playoffs. And then obviously Edmonton is a team that the Wild handle really well. So in the East, they're really it's been a bizarre conference in the East because I think they're all beatable. But yet it's made for this wide-open affair, and it's shocking when you look at a team like the Florida Panthers.
Yeah.
It's won 2 cups in a row that are probably not making the playoffs here. They've had devastating injuries all year long.
Yep.
And it has been devastating.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That has been because they won the last 2 cups.
Yeah.
I'm so focused on the here and now and what this team, what they're up against potentially with Dallas in the first round would be the Avs in the second. But with these GM meetings, probably a dumb question. Is this where some of the conversations could start in terms of, hey, Billy G wanted to hold on to those assets in the event and, kind of dream weaving what the summer could look like, right? And assets for if someone was to come available and it's an ooh-la-la situation, Guerin wants to have some ammo to work with. Is that where that happens at these GM meetings, and then certainly as seasons start ending, those conversations only get louder?
Yeah, I think before the trade deadline is usually when most of those things start. I think there was a lot of table setting from a lot of teams. I think St. Louis was starting to figure out what the market could be for Robert Thomas. Right now the way Toronto's been, they might have to have a conversation with Austin Matthews this offseason. The way Ottawa's fallen apart, maybe a Brady Tkachuk. So I think it allows Bill Guerin and the rest of the GMs to continue to have conversations, to just kind of do some table setting. Hey, if his guy's available, I'll be in on that. These are some of the assets that I can give up, that I'd be willing to give up. But for the most part, the GM's meetings in South Florida, they're pretty much done every day by noon. They're going over, potential rule changes that they could recommend to the competition committee. They're going over, the league is talking to them about everything from expansion, giving them an update, to what the cap could be the next 2 or 3 years, to
more expansion.
There's going to be to definitely goal reviews. There's been a lot of complaints this year about goalie interference and things like that. So that's usually where it is, and then they go and play pickleball and golf.
Well, that sounds like a wonderful vacation. Hey, and if saying Danila Yurov is potentially the most underrated player on the team, or one of them, if it's dumb, I apologize, but he's the first one I thought of after that goal the other night.
Yeah.
It's who do you think is on a team where Kaprizov and Boldy and Fabesy and Husey and all that? Who's the most underrated player on this team?
Well, I think this year it's been Trenyan. He has been really, really good. He came into camp in impeccable shape. He's leading the league in hits by almost 100. He's just been terrific on the penalty kill, especially of late.
Yeah.
He's starting to add offensive dimensions to his game. He's skating better than I've ever seen him play. So I would say him, but Yurov is going to be a great player. I mean, he is, even just since the Olympic break where he wasn't getting a lot of points, he's had scoring chances, a ton of them in Vegas, a ton of them in Colorado, and then he scores the beautiful goal the other night where he undresses Mackenzie Weegar, who's he's not a shabby defenseman by any stretch of the imagination.
And he kind of held his own when he was asked to do some top line work and things. Like he's kind of just met bars along the way of the season, hasn't he?
Yeah, absolutely, and he just keeps on getting better and better. And the only thing that sucks is that, like, if I was a fan, I wouldn't buy his jersey. If the Wild are going to get in on these big fish this offseason, it's not going to be for Adam Bennick and Charlie Stramel and those. Like, it might include Stramel, but it's going to cost you probably Wallstedt and Yurov to get in on these guys, and so I wouldn't buy his jersey yet.
Let me ask.
Sucks because I think he's going to be a hell of a center.
Let me take a different spin, but similar vein to the question PA asked. Who is the most potentially underrated / maligned member of the team? And maybe the maligned's the wrong word. Is when we were hunting for Trocheck. Mm-hmm. It's just everybody. And maybe this is almost a perpetual or every season thing. We can't have Hartman in the spot that we put him in. Now, personally, from the outset, and you can tell me if I'm dumb on this, I think Hartman is one of the Wild's more consistent players, specifically in the postseason. And I like Hartman's game overall and really what he's giving where he's at. Is he maligned? Is he underrated maybe in a different sense of the word when we're out there hunting big game style for a center?
Yeah, I think fans understand that Hartman's a good player. I think they just think that he's not cast to be the number one center on an NHL franchise that wants to go win a cup. I think there's ways to get away with it, though. And part of it's having two play-driving wingers in Boldy and Kaprizov and a superstar defenseman in Quinn Hughes. I think that Bill Guerin, if he was right here, would agree with you that Brian Hartman is not a number one center in the National Hockey League. But I also don't think that stops Bill Guerin from thinking that this team could be a true cup contender with Brian Hartman as their number one center.
I like his game.
He plays well. He's skating really well. He digs out pucks for those two. But you're right. I mean, I think fans understand, though, that you still want a center that's probably more of a playmaker and more of a point producer playing with those guys. So, I get where the fans come off here. So he's maligned in the role that he's in.
Okay.
Another one that's maligned, I think, too much is Marcus Foligno. I think people look at his contract too much. When this team, first of all, right before he got hurt, he was starting to really produce a lot. The hat trick in Toronto, the great game he had in Buffalo, and then unfortunately he gets hurt. When this team turned its season around in November, before he got hurt in Chicago, it was him playing to his identity. So, he is just, for the role that he's going to be in, which is probably fourth line left wing on this team when he comes back, he does his job, and he's a really quality defensive forward.
Last one, there's Husey. Speaking of Husey, how has Zeev Bouillon been for the Coupe? I know he had a goal a couple of weeks ago. I don't think he has a lot, but how's he playing?
Yeah, I watched the game that they played against, Ottawa the other night, and I thought he was really, really good. He's not producing a ton of points. You're not producing points on that team right now. They are the worst team in the league by a million miles.
Yep.
I think he's still going to be a really, really good defenseman. But, you look at what Hughes has done here, having, 40 points in his 20 whatever games.
Yeah, almost 60 dimes right now,
right? It's crazy. That's
Man.
double what Rossi, Ogren, and Boyum have done for them. There's been some injuries there. But I think that as long as they could figure out a way to keep Quinn past next year, I think anybody years from now is going to look at that trade as being worth it.
Why didn't we get a fist bump from you when you rolled in? We did you a favor before you got here. Are you familiar with what I'm talking about? we got Heinze to announce who the goalie is tonight.
Oh yeah, I did not hear that. Is it Wally?
It's
That's
Wally.
what I figured. I thought you meant that. I was worried about the fist bump because after listening to Gorg, I was going to throw my life savings on the Wild to win the cup.
Nobody better than KJ. I appreciate you, brother.
All right, see ya.
Have a good day. Russo Radio, Michael Russo. That was our Steve's Appliances Marathon segment, 50th anniversary sale in play in Mounds View. 7,000 square foot showroom. Steve'sAppliances.com to learn routes to saving 50% or more on certain appliances. Steve'sAppliances.com. Love you. Second half of the radio show should begin with Minnesota Wild General Manager Bill Guerin joining us for the morning skate in advance of the Philly Flyers game tonight at Grand Casino Arena. Nordo's here, and I'm Paul Allen. This is Vox in the Box on KFAN.
On the Fan.
How you doing? I've been all right. How you doing, Pierre? Hey, Paul. How you doing?
Wild.
Billy G, Bill Guerin watching his Minnesota Wild with a vivacious morning skate. Day of a game against the Philadelphia Flyers. Bill is general manager for the Minnesota Wild. Joins us for Vox in the Box. And, with Philadelphia in town tonight. And just like I put a little trivia game together for John Hines and Kevin Gorg to start things, and I represented Hines. Why did I represent the coach? Because the last thing an owner or president of hockey operations or general manager wants to hear is their head coach making even a $1 bet on radio. So I'm like, okay, I'll represent Heinze, and Gorg beat him 2-1. But when I was reading up on Philadelphia, of course I remember Bobby Clark, and of course I remember Bernie Parent, and of course I've heard of the Broad Street Bullies, from back in the 70s.
Yep.
But then I was like looking into it and stuff, and I was like, damn, Billy G would have been a heck of a that's your kind of squad back in the day, right?
Back in the day, yeah. Had a lot of great games in Philadelphia.
Yeah. At the Spectrum?
At the Spectrum.
You played at the Spectrum. Wow.
Oh yeah.
That's sweet.
When you're walking in the Spectrum and you got Eric Lindros is there and John LeClaire and Michael Remberg, the Legion of Doom line.
Wow.
But then they've got then they've got a bunch of heavyweights in there, and the guys that just played hard. Always going into Philadelphia, you knew you were going to get their best and their highest competitive nature, and it was always a really tough place to play.
Okay, now hold on. Now Bill is doing some work today with the Make-A-Wish Foundation, and so I see a kid on the ice with McGovern on the back of his sweater.
Yeah.
Is that
Kellen McGovern?
That's the kid with whom you're working, who just got a backhander by one of your goals.
Yeah.
He's 15.
Yeah,
what a great experience for this kid.
Coming in from Bishop, California. His parents is right kind of near the Nevada line, like near the Monmouth Mountains.
Yep,
or
Mammoth
Mountains.
Yep.
So it sounds like a beautiful area, but what a great kid. And he's
this is spectacular. He gets to do this.
Yeah, it's awesome. He's all charged up for St. Patrick's Day.
Yeah. He's a McGovern.
Yeah, he sat in Curl's Porsche this morning.
Wow.
Which is pretty cool. That's the way we started the day.
So if he's from Bishop, California, And the Make-A-Wish Foundation here, I know people who work with it. I've done some charitable work with it. It's big, and it's very, very philanthropically sound. But, like, is his favorite team the Wild?
Yeah.
Or is he like an L.A. Kings, Anaheim Ducks, Vegas Golden Knights fan?
Minnesota Wild.
Wow, that's super sweet.
It's awesome. It's awesome. And he's such a great kid, and I got to spend some time with him and his family this morning. And he signed a one-day contract with the Wild, and now he's out here tooling around with the guys.
In the morning skate with one of the best teams in the NHL. I mean, this. Yep. See, this is a moment, at least for me, and probably for you too, man, where it's kind of a see the forest for the trees or smell the roses type moment. And I'm not talking about the young man's condition. I mean, those are things through which he and his family are working. This is a great opportunity. But if you just think at age 15. He's in Kirill Kaprizov's Porsche. Yeah. He's out there passing to Husey, trying to get a one-timer. Yeah. This will be one of the greatest memories this child has in the history of his life.
Absolutely. And that's why Make-A-Wish is such a great organization. We've had some great days with them, and we're lucky to be a partner of theirs. And it's just. You know what?
Good for you, man.
This is where real life takes over. I know we're playing the Flyers tonight.
Yep.
And that's all good and great. This is real life stuff.
Yeah, good for you and the team. And
we're happy to be a part of it.
And McGovern, what's his first name?
Kellen.
Yeah, Kellen McGovern, who's here from Bishop, California, 15. And Make-A-Wish, man. I knew what was going on today, and, you might be here 10:30. I didn't realize that it was going to go to this extent. So, hey, as we go 9 to noon, awesome. Man, let's come in and clap for you guys. Because this is, we're deep in the season. We got 17. You talk about putting the forest for the trees. Guys, we got 17 games to go. Hey, Philly, Philly's not great on back-to-backs, but, the goalie's decent. And, we got to win. Now, we're going to bring this kid out and make the greatest memory in the history of his life with some of the best players in the NHL. That's awesome.
I think it really, honestly, I think it's good for our players, too. It's good for all of us because, you take a step back.
Yeah.
And you realize, what's truly important in life, and it's your health and your family. As parents, your children. That's the most important thing in life.
Amen. Bill Guerin, general manager for the Minnesota Wild. I've heard you with Barrero, so maybe Barrio.
Is he an intern?
No, it's Don Barrio. He's on 3 to 6:30. I think up to the Fabulous Sports Babe. Yeah, on a station called KFAN.
So I know KFAN.
Yeah, I've heard you with Don Barrio before.
Yeah.
And great job as usual. So maybe people have heard this answer before, but it's the first time I've seen you in person in a little bit now. The Milan experience and the meat grinder. Have you ever? And you played in some of the biggest games in the last X amount of years of hockey. The speed of that last game, I've never seen anything like it in my life. Have you?
No. It was. The whole experience was life-changing. It was incredible. But that final... Listen, you know what? Hockey was the big winner. Canada, amazing team. United States, amazing team. The whole world wanted to see that matchup. They got it. We were fortunate enough to win. But what a game.
Yeah.
The players on both sides, Canada and the U.S., the best of the best in the best generation of hockey players. It was incredible.
Great way to put it.
I was just honored and fortunate to be a part of it.
Yeah, and it was one of the greater sporting events to follow and watch in a little while. In dumb question here, 2030. So, do you get to put the team together for 2030? How does that work?
I haven't even processed this one yet. So
okay.
We'll
but there's a possibility you could? Well, I have a reason for asking.
Possible.
Well, it's because you got, you guys killed Utah the other night. But, Utah, Detroit, Anaheim, some of these other teams that have been, a little shoddy over the years, but they're getting better. And the competitive...
They're good.
Yes, the competitive balance of the league is underrated in the NHL. So, Logan Cooley, Jackson Lacombe for Anaheim.
Yep.
Well, he was on the team, but, there are so many players that are just sitting on big things and then some guys they'll retire or step away or maybe decline. So like that 2030 roster, that's going to be a meat grinder making that team.
Yeah, it will be. Just like it was this one. And that's the beauty of where USA Hockey is right now. Mm-hmm. Our player pool was, only so big back in the 90s, late 80s, early 90s.
Mm-hmm.
We won the World Cup of Hockey in 96. It sparked a jump in players in the country. Then, you move on to, all the Olympic games that kids are watching. And we haven't been able to win at the Olympics until now. And we're expecting another spike in player participation all across the country. And but that's been happening too. And like you mentioned, like kids like Cooley that are coming up. There's still the Caulfields, the Lane Hudsons, and then there's kids that we don't even know about right now who could be eligible for that. Schaefer is Canadian.
Yeah, I'm talking about just overall.
Overall, my God, like the game.
Schaefer's terrific.
Oh, he's outstanding.
I ain't breaking news here, but I'm not going out of my way to watch Islanders games generally. But like when I do fall into him, I'm like, holy cow!
Yeah, I mean he's outstanding, and the way what he's done for the Islanders organization and that market, that fan base, wow, he is something special.
Good problem is an oxymoron, but I'm not going to say with the trade deadline and everything that you kind of threw Heinze in a meat grinder. But I mean, it's the good problem of having really, really difficult bottom six decisions to make pretty much every game. Would you agree?
Yeah, but you know what?
That's good.
It is good, and I think the biggest thing is, and there's nobody better at it than John Heinze.
He's awesome.
Is communication.
Yeah.
And you know what? John's been very open with the guys. They all understand where we are, what we're trying to do, where they kind of stand in the scheme of things. So be ready for anything. You know what? You might have to sit out a game. You might not get as much ice time as you like. You might not, but you're part of it. We need everybody, and when your number's called, we need you to be ready, and it's important. You are important, and I think he delivers those messages to the guys, black and white, plain and simple, and I think that's the biggest thing for professional athletes is that they're communicated with.
Were you ever that guy? I mean, you had an awesome career, but like, were you ever that guy either via trade or later in career where it's kind of like, hey, I mean, I've done this, and now I'm sweating to get 12 minutes. You know, like, were you ever that guy?
No, I was really fortunate, and the one thing I do remember, one conversation I had when I was playing my last year in Pittsburgh, and Dan Bilesman was our coach, and this is where communication comes in. So it's so important. I wasn't playing well, and Dan, brought me into the office. He said, "Hey, listen, we all submit our lineups. Some people have you in, some people have you out. This is the reason. I'm going to show you a couple things. You're not moving your feet. You're not skating. Here's 2 or 3 examples of what you're doing.
Yeah,
you're in tonight, but you need to kind of get going." So he communicated with me.
That's sweet.
He gave me the heads up. I saw it.
Yep.
And I fixed it.
Not every coach is like that, right?
No, and that's not really how it was back when.
Wow.
For most of my career, it was, and I felt bad for a lot of the guys who were kind of on the bubble of the lineup every night because they didn't know why.
Yeah. They
didn't know what was going on. But that wasn't the culture. Like you did what you were told, and that was it. Now it's a better culture in that way, in that the coaches take the time to talk to the players, so you don't lose them, and they feel respected and they feel important. I think that's a great evolution of that part of our game.
The Flyers head coach is Rick Tocchet, and Bill and Rick were together in Pittsburgh. Tocchet coached, and I think Bill was the assistant GM. You were the assistant GM at the time?
Yep.
Your relationship, I assume, was pretty good, but what kind of a player was Rick Tocchet?
Soft.
Well, that means you guys have a great relationship. You must be best friends for you to do that. That's fantastic.
I tell you what, there was. I don't think. I mean, hey, listen, there are a lot of guys back in the day that could do it, but I don't know if anybody blended toughness and skill.
Yeah.
More than defines power forward or toughness and skill.
Yeah.
More than Rick Tocchet. I mean, 3,000 penalty minutes, 900 points.
Wow.
I know he scored 49 one year playing with Mario. He just missed 50, but and you know what? I never played with him, but I worked with him, and he's a very good friend. No better teammate than you could ask for.
Very smart, from what I hear.
He's an A+ human.
Right on.
Hey, look at. I want that guy in my foxhole.
And Quinn Hughes would be a player that you put in your foxhole.
100%.
And he's come through, no doubt. Weird question, but I've just been wondering it. When do you start making sure Hughesy stays here forever?
You know what? We can talk this summer. You know what? It's kind of like the Kirill situation where that's the timing of it, and we don't want to. You know, you can't per the CBA.
Oh,
just let him play now. We'll figure that stuff out.
And he's
later.
cool with that, right?
Oh yeah,
yeah.
He's listen. This kid's just so focused on hockey and winning and you know, being a part of the Wild and making us better. And he's just he's been awesome.
That has to excite you. You know, when the season's over, hopefully you're hoisting a cup, and then you get. Russo and the rest of the gang asking you every 5 days, what's up with Hughes? What's up with
Yeah.
We got an extension on the horizon.
Yeah. There's some things I look forward to and some things I don't.
All right, last one. 10:50, Bill Guerin's with 9 to noon. What if Bobby Brink has 100 friends and family come to the game tonight to watch him versus his former team?
What are you saying?
Bobby Brink, Minnetonka.
Yeah, what about him?
Well, now a lot of tickets could be available. Oh,
as long as they get them on their own.
You just put me in a box. You knew what I was talking about. You eyeballed me in a puck battle, and you won.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
That was a verbal puck battle, and you killed me.
But listen, the point to my comments is that I know
it was funny.
It was, but you know what? I was serious too.
Well, I know.
When you come home to play, and I went through it when I was playing for the Bruins. Everybody comes out of the woodwork. Your family and your good friends, your real friends, will leave you alone.
Yeah,
they'll let you do your thing. Your friends that start coming out of the woodwork. Hey, can I get some tickets? Do you want to hang out? Do you want to do this? Do you want to do that?
Yeah.
The answer is no.
Right.
Like, hey, he can do it.
It could be worse,
but you have to lay the groundwork now to put those fires out.
Yeah. Well, think about when you get a new deal, people coming out of the woodwork being like, I don't need 20 or 30 grand.
It's all distractions.
Dog, can I get $2 grand? You know, $3 grand?
Listen,
it happens.
Of course, you're going to get tickets for your parents or your brother and sister or maybe your best buds when they can't, when the other people can't make it. But all the other
Minnetonka student body.
When you come and play at home, you have to say no.
Right.
And that's not easy for good guys like Bobby Brink. It wasn't easy for me, but you have to lay the groundwork early. It's not that you can't enjoy the experience. Nobody cheered harder the other night when he scored than me.
Yeah.
Well, maybe some people. Maybe
he had a full section here. That's why he was late to the skate.
I'm genuinely happy for guys that get to come and play at home. All I want is for them to have success doing it and have a great experience.
Well, I mean, you and I are high-end acquaintances. Got a couple extras laying around tonight for me.
Yeah, I do.
I'm playing with you.
I do.
I miss you, man. I just love having you on the radio show.
You don't ask anymore.
Well, sure we do. I just get shut down by you. I'm just for Don Barrio from 3 to 6:30 before the Fabulous Sports Babe.
I still can't put a name to a face.
Good seeing you, buddy.
Good seeing you too, man.
Great job, too, man.
Thanks,
it's fun, and we'll see you when we come back.
All right.
Bill Guerin, 9 to noon, back after this.
Welcome back, 9 to noon. It's News to Nord, brought to you by The Casino at Canterbury Park. You're feeling the felt, poker, blackjack, and table games all year round. Live music, all sorts of fun. Live racing kicking off in the spring. CanterburyPark.com. Truncated edition before we get to the 11 o'clock hour that features Alex Staylock. Feverishly grinding for coffee, water, cups with holes in them, the whole thing up here in the perch at TRIA. So let's hit on a few topics and then pause. The Minnesota Timberwolves have lost 3 straight. It was another ugly one last night. If I told you, or as a listener, you told me, you said, hey, the Wolves are going to shoot nearly 60% from the field. They're going to shoot almost 45% from 3. And they're going to go 25 of 29 from the line. I'd say, oh, that's a W. It's the freaking Clippers. Oh, wait. Kawhi goes off for 45 last night as we anticipated. They shoot north of 60 from the field, and they hit 19 triples against the Howl, who have now lost 3 straight. Tough time of the year to have maybe the low point, as we were talking with PA earlier in the season. They're at the Dubs on Friday. Needs to be better. We know Wild tonight. Wild with Bobby Brink facing his former team, Kaprizov and Boldy, and everybody flying high after the blowout over the Mammoth a day or so ago. That's tonight right here on your home for Wild Hockey, the Fan. But to the NFL, we haven't spent a ton of time on the NFL today, given that it's a box-in-the-box presentation. But just some kind of news bouncing around. Hopefully during the final hour we can jump into it. Looking for running backs in the free agent market. I personally did not see this coming, but Aaron Jones agreeing to a simplified or lowered contract yesterday that will make him the sombrero's coming back. Aaron Jones returning to the fold to go tandem with Jordan Mason, and that saves the team about $3.5 million in cap off the original contract. The key to this for me is going to be the pass protection element of it. It's kind of dream weaving with free agency. And you saw Keaton Mitchell, for instance. Keaton Mitchell, who's watching every Keaton Mitchell snap in the NFL for the Ravens? You probably are not. I'm not watching a ton of it either. But the speed and the way that he potentially fits, his ability to catch, was intriguing to me. He signs with the Chargers. But pass protection, the diminutive Mitchell versus the established Aaron Jones, makes sense. Once we dig into that more in earnest with PA, whether it's later today or during the feast tomorrow, which will be fun and football-centric, the idea of still getting after a running back in the draft, I think, is certainly a priority for the Purple, and we would be efforting that via conversation tomorrow. Now from the Kyler's team, sounds like Kyler's in town. I don't know where they're hanging out at. Maybe it's just in Egan, but whether it's Adam Schefter reporting and others, it still is believed to be the expectation that Kyler Murray will sign a 1-year contract with the Minnesota Vikings. Schefter himself reporting earlier today via paraphrasing, potentially later this afternoon. We could hear some finality to that, which then means tomorrow during the Friday feast, Alec Lewis is going to join us. We're going to have Pete Bursich around 11, and we will have Chad Greenway, 5-2 radio right out of the gates tomorrow. If the deal does take place today, of course, that would certainly dominate a lot of the conversation on the feast tomorrow. That's a truncated edition. News to Nord, brought to you by The Casino at Canterbury Park, CanterburyPark.com. When we return, Alex Staylock will join yours truly, Paul Allen. Final hour ahead of us. Kara Savage on the social. It's a party here at TRIA, right here 9 to noon.